Remember, we are editor. We run this. Let's take a look at the database. We now have 2 administrators. Let's take a look in WordPress. It still says editor just because we didn't update, but if I press the update, I am now administrator. Hi, I'm Emil, a Swedish hacker. Today I thought I could shed some light on how authenticated remote code execution works in some popular builder, because it has been a topic discussed today on the forums, and as I understand it, not everybody understands this issue, so I thought we could take a look and we can talk about it. So without taking anybody's party here, I can just show how it works and you can decide for yourself. So this was the article released today. It is about the page builder Breakdance, and it says it is unpatched, and what that means is that they have not yet fixed this, and the description from the guys who found this, they say they have found remote code execution in versions below and up to 1.7.0, and to exploit this you cannot be completely unauthenticated. You need an authenticated user, and you must also be granted some builder access, and they have not yet released any proof of concept and no proposed patch. So obviously, according to these guys, the security guys, the Breakdance team did not consider this a security vulnerability, and of course, the guys who found it consider it to be a security vulnerability, and after watching this video you can make your own conclusions. So this is information present in their documentation from this builder. If we start with the Breakdance. So it says to consider this regarding security, do not grant this edit content access to any untrusted user, as a skilled user could escalate their privilege to site admin. Yes, that's true. I don't know when this was updated, but this is what we are taking a look at today. Edit content access is only designed to simplify a user. It will not prevent a skilled user with edit content. Okay, so the problem is, if you grant anyone, it doesn't matter what user role they have, if you grant them edit content, they can now by themselves escalate their privileges to administrator. And they do not really consider this a security issue. So I have a site, it's called bd.blueteamer.io. I am the administrator of this site, I own the site. I have a plugin installed, it is Breakdance, it is version 1.7.0, and I believe this is the latest version. I do not own Breakdance myself, so I got it from a guy on the internet, which basically means this is to be considered an old version. I don't know if he changed the source code or not, but I'm going to assume he did not, and he did send me the actual copy of Breakdance. On this site we have 2 users. We have Emil, this is my user, I am an administrator, and we have a user called editor with the role editor. So if we take a look at how to execute code from within WordPress, we can take a look at pages. I have a test page here. It was created by me, and if I push it, I can choose edit with Breakdance. I can add like a section. I don't know if it's needed. I can add a code block, and in the code block I can do PHP, and it will it will run the PHP. I can echo a message. I can echo constants. I can echo other constants. I can do basically any PHP in here. So this is how it works. You could open this panel if you want to see what is happening when the builder is sending this. You can do it like this. You wait for it, and you see that the request is not for the how do you say it? It's not for the JSON API endpoint. This is actually for the WordPress index file with some parameters. If I wanted to just copy this, I could do it like this: copy as curl. I can translate it, curl to Python. I could run it here. I just copy and paste what I got in here, and it says if you want this in Python, you do it like this. So I don't have to write it myself. And this Python script will now run this code if we also have these cookies, because this is the cookies you have as an administrator. But we are not administrators, are we? We are privilege escalating to administrator. Where is my site? So if we take a look at how this works, we can go to Kali. Can do it like this. On the right side I have the database. Do you see the database? I can do it a little bit bigger, like this. Also I have to move it away from myself. I have learned the hard way. Like that. And if we run this command, select all from user meta, we can see, oops, let's make it a little bit smaller. We can now see that we have two users, and the capabilities of these users are: one of them is an administrator and one of them is an editor. And if we take a look at this again, it seems about right. We have one administrator and one editor. So from Kali, if we do it like this, we have two files. We have attack cookies and we have attack breakdance. So if we start with attack cookies, we can take a look at it. Can you see it? Yes. So we have a default host, we have a default username, we have a default password. It is slightly better than hello, so I'm not getting the warnings anymore. And then we just take all the cookies and we save them to a file called _cookies. So if we run this without any parameters, if we do this again, we will now have this file called _cookies. These are the cookies that are getting stolen when somebody is doing a session hijack or steal cookies and something. This is the cookies that get stolen. We can take a look at them. It looks like gibberish, but we can see if my user is in here. Yes. We can see if it's the right domain. Yes. So we need this to send the command. We don't need the administrative cookies, because now these belongs to my administrator user, and if I use them, let's take a look at the breakdance file. We have a default argument with host, and if we set a command, that means the argument length is greater than 2. It will set our evil command, and it will put it in a files object, and it will put it here. So this is the same as so this is the same. It was fetched from here. So we have this PHP code, and we did just copy the parameters, and if we do not send any evil commands, it will fill in the privilege escalation command that I have created, and it looks like this. It starts from here and it goes to here, and this will not escalate any privileges if you don't already have privileges, but it will escalate to full administrator from any user. So let's take a look at if we can execute code as administrator, just to make sure everything works. So if we take Breakdance, attack Breakdance, and we put in the correct domain, and we also specify, let's do it like this. Our code got executed. If we do it like this, our command does execute, because this is now tied to administrative cookies. So as an administrator, of course, we can execute code. So this file will execute code as whatever privilege was in this file. So if we stole cookies from an administrator, it would be executed as an administrator. If we stole cookies from an editor, it would execute with the permissions of an editor. So let's take a look at how that works. Let's remove this. We no longer have cookies. And let's take a look at WordPress. Let's go back, exit, we don't care. We have users. We have this user. The rule is editor, and we have the same password for both users. So if we again attack cookies, but as editor with, I think it was this password. Oh. Like this. It said everything is alright, but just make sure it is. We should be able to find our name and the domain in here, and it seems about right. So if we now run this file, let's just run it again, this, and echo this, it will now be run as editor, and it will not work. It will yield an error. So my script says this is an error. If we scroll up to the very top here, we can see we have an error. The type is a Breakdance Ajax error, and it says we do not have permission to perform this action. It also says our minimum permission level is edit. Okay, so to run this command, we need edit permission. And we get edit permission by somebody with administrative permission go here, push settings, push user access, and now this administrator gets this message: do not grant edit content access to untrusted users. But it does not restrict privileges. Well, this is not very clear, but to be fair, this is actually very clear. As a skilled user could escalate their privileges to site admin. Yes, it says on their site. That means if I do this and said edit content, interface only, and click save, every user that was an editor is now effectively an administrator. Not if we look here, this user is still an editor, but if we go here, we will no longer have errors running PHP code. And this PHP code was run with the editor permission, not with administrator permission. But remember, if we take a look at our database again, we have an editor and we have one administrator. If we take a look at the Breakdance file, if we omit, if we do not put this evil command as the third argument, it will be run with the default argument, and the default argument is whoever runs this command will now be administrator. That's what this default command is. So let's take a look and see if it works. Now we can just copy, we can just delete this command. Remember, we are editor, we run this. So we did privilege escalate of user with ID 2, and ID 2 was because my ID was 2 from the cookies file, and we didn't have any database error. Let's take a look at the database. We now have 2 administrators. Let's take a look in WordPress. It still says editor just because we didn't update, but if I press the update, I am now administrator. I think the same or very similar issue is present in Oxygen. I didn't check, but it seems from reading this that it is very similar. But I know for a fact that this was also present in the Bricks builder. I turned it in for CVE numbering, so this is the CVE and this is the proof of concept. So this is not a publicly available video, but I have a proof of concept that is authenticated remote code execution in Bricks 1961. However, the Bricks team did consider this a security vulnerability and they fixed it. So it is fixed in 197. To actually attack Bricks in 1961, it is not as simple as the one I showed you today, because we have to also to attack the autosave function, because it was a vulnerability there that is no longer present. So I believe this was it for today. I don't think I have to show the other two. Maybe I'll show the Bricks in another video, because it is slightly different and a little bit more advanced. But I believe in Breakdance and Oxygen it is very simple, because in Bricks they did put countermeasures against this that you have to hack. In Breakdance and Oxygen, well, at least in Breakdance, there are no countermeasures, so it is a very easy hack.